we're all talking about October 7th and this war, but it's not a war. It's an illegal occupation. This is you are framing.
So we're getting back to the point I asked.
Yeah.
How do we solve this? Because
this is how we solve it.
Basically
this is how we solve it, sir. We have to frame it correctly.
How do we do that?
By talking about what it is. It's an illegal occupation. It's an apartheid. Would you agree it's an apartheid state, sir?
Let's start off with the real facts. Settlements in the West Bank are an illegal occupation. 100%. 100%. So these people saying otherwise, I don't know about TalkTv. They could just be blowhards. They probably are. But they don't know what they're talking about here.
No,
you wouldn't agree.
Because Israeli Arabs are high court judges and put Israeli politicians in prison.
Okay, did you know that the Israeli Arabs that you're mentioning also have to go by a military judiciary system as opposed to what civilians have to use in Israel?
You
didn't know that exactly.
They serve in the army. Muslims serve in the Israeli army.
Did you know recently a woman just got arrested?
Down.
Let me speak. A woman got arrested recently, an Israeli Arab, yeah? She got arrested for speaking in a WhatsApp group, positively speaking about the Palestinians, right? And she got arrested. Do you call that a democracy?
What, is that true? Okay, that's Al Jazeera. Okay, that's not that bad. I don't see any source besides Al Jazeera that's talking about it. This is Al Jazeera.
انت موقف في اتهام في نشر كلمات مديح تعاطف وتشجيع عمل ارهابي دعم استنى شوي دعم تعريض حيازه الاعلانات تعرض على العنف والارهاب الكشف عن الانتماء الى منظمه ارهابيه
If that's true, that's crazy. Al Jazeera makes me second guess it. Um, but if that's true, then that's crazy. I don't get how you can even arrest somebody just for saying something on WhatsApp. It doesn't look like they arrested her though. It looked like they just arrested her husband. They put her husband in handcuffs. So maybe that isn't true. Anti-Palestine TikTok. Oh my god.
Well, she was anti-Israel, this woman.
Let Henry speak.
Let Henry speak. Country that looked after.
I have negotiated ceasefires, okay, and between some very antagonistic parties, and every time one or other or both parties want to go back and say, well, this is the problem and they're to blame and this is the issue and we've got to solve that before we can. No, because if you go back to address that, you straight away go straight back into the argument that caused the thing in the first place. What you actually have to do is say both sides want to sort this out sincerely. And in this case, I don't think they do at this stage. And then you can go. Then you can go and talk about these things in a sane, sensible, and calm, rational manner. If you don't, if you go straight into these things, then actually you build the situation worse, and you've blown a chance for a potential talk. So that's the reality of it. And what you're doing at the moment, if I may say, is you're going straight into that argument rather than saying to the principal, we're going to have to stop fighting if there's going to be peace. It's not we're going to have to talk and then we'll stop fighting if you do.
He's 100% right. If you want a peace negotiation or to bring both sides to the table, the fighting has to stop. The bombing has to stop. The killing has to stop. The preparation for new attacks has to stop. And you need to come up with legible and fair points on both sides for people to get what they want, essentially.
That, then you will fail, and the war will continue. And Israel,
so what you're saying, Henry, is stop fighting, then we'll talk.
But that's never possible.
The hostages have to be released as well. That's the hostages.
On both sides, I agree.
That's never possible when one or other or both parties have the perceived need to continue fighting, which Israel does, and so does Hamas.
Let me ask you this question.
Why did you point at me when you said Hamas there?
Hamas is the army of the Palestinians in a way, isn't it?
It's the government of Gaza.
Can we all shush please a minute and keep out? I mean, you would condemn Hamas. You already have.
I've done so on live TV. Yes.
So they are the people behind the Palestinians, holding the Palestinians in a really difficult situation.
Okay, may I please let me just go before someone cuts me off. I haven't had a chance to speak. I've been in 25 minutes. Right, guys.
I think it's 15.
No, it's quite true. So look, here's the thing, right? You've got to see it like this. If you were the Palestinians and... So let's not forget, by the way, the context here. Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Would you agree?
No.
You wouldn't agree that...
Would you?
You wouldn't agree that Netanyahu propped up Hamas?
I'm not sure what happened
they
there.
Spent money on... They gave money to Hamas, guys. Let's not be... Come on, let's...
We supported Bin Laden.
All right. In the interest of fairness, you know what? Because from what I was told, Netanyahu gave money to Hamas. People are referencing the fact that the aid money that comes into Gaza goes through Israel. So they see that as Netanyahu giving money to Hamas. But that's just him giving them their aid money. Unless there's something I can find. Bro, I hate when this happens. Yeah, that's exactly what I said. This is the money that was given from coalition partners to to Gaza, but it went through Qatar and in Israel. It was up to Hamas to decide what they were going to do with it.
Well, we supported Bin Laden.
Israel has kept Gaza going. That's true.
Okay, I can't even get a sentence out, guys.
Yeah, come on.
So look, the Palestinians are but the Palestinians are in such a bad position, right? That they've been lumped in with Hamas, right? Like you just think.
Hamas pulled them in.
I don't want to cover this guy's face. Whoa. Why do I? Okay. Well, can't do that. So
Please, bro, please
you
give me a
stop it for a
break.
minute?
This guy, are you a professional or not?
No.
Let me
If
speak,
we,
bro.
hey,
Look,
if
the
we carry on
Palestinians
like
have
whoa. Oh my God. I wanted to grab this. But I can't. Okay, so I can't move this. Put it right here. There we go. Much better, I guess.
have
this
no
will end up
choice.
in a
Listen, let me
mess.
speak,
I know,
please.
I'm actually shooting him.
Listen,
No, just answer
this
the
isn't
question.
is this accredited media, right? So I should have a chance to speak, right?
You've had an enormous chance to speak.
If we
So
were
can we?
your producer,
He hasn't even gotten to
haven't
speak.
had a chance to
What are you talking about? He barely got to say anything. Why are you pretending like he's been speaking this whole time?
speak, bro. Your producer just said that.
Back off the
Yeah,
microphone.
but you interrupt him every 4 seconds.
go on.
Look, this is the truth. I'm going to speak the truth, and you guys won't let me.
We
Let me
we
speak.
can't.
The Palestinians don't have a choice, bro.
Listen.
They are being slaughtered.
Okay, listen.
Do you understand that, brother?
Listen.
They're
By
dying.
Hamas.
No, by Israel, bro.
Stop now.
Think about it.
Move back from the microphone because we can't hear what you're saying.
No, bro.
Why would you have to move back from the mic to hear him? You mean move closer so we can hear you? This guy is like such a donut.
This is
Could you
ridiculous.
stop using the language? It doesn't help your
you
cause
condemn
at all.
Hamas.
You be
You don't-
quiet. Sorry to
Bro,
all
it's
those
not-
listeners.
Condemn Hamas now. Condemn them. Condemn them now. What does that have to do? So it's like these people, their first thing, the moment you say anything positive about or take the Palestinian side, condemn Hamas now. Condemn Hamas. Condemn Hamas. Now I get it. In most situations, in like a debate discussion, you need to start off there sometimes. In this case, this was unwarranted, uncalled for.
You know
You
what
may
you're
be
doing is
offended
so
by that.
unfair, right? What
Right.
you've just done.
Could you shut up a
You've
minute?
allowed me a chance
Now,
to speak, and then you've interrupted.
got to back
Admit
away.
it.
Come in as the producer and say what has to be done.
Can I
because
speak? Can I
Yeah,
just
go on,
speak?
speak.
But you've got to
Guys.
push your chair back.
All right,
You're,
look,
you're
can't
making
call,
it,
you can't
and you be
call the
quiet now for a
Palestinians
bit.
Hamas, guys. It's so
I haven't done that.
No, will you
what
stop
you're
it?
doing?
You just don't answer.
But, so do you think that I'm crazy and I'm just making
You've
stuff up?
no. Listen, can I get it because I've lost, and we'll come back to you, Henry.
That's fine.
Okay, I'm losing.
bro.
I'm actually losing the thread here. So you be quiet for a minute, and I'll come to you, all three of you, when it's your chance to talk. So, I want to hear from you. I want to hear what, in your view, can be done to stop. We've already condemned Hamas as
I'll
being.
tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll
Go
do.
on.
We'll stop making people that are trying to bring light to a humanitarian issue, and then when they come onto their show.
But how are they doing that? Don't have a go at me.
Let me
because it
speak.
won't
You're
end
not letting
well.
me speak.
Can
bro.
you let him talk? Oh my God, let him talk. What is wrong with you, brother? Let the man talk.
But
haven't
don't
finished
go
the
and
sentence.
have a go at me.
Guys
I'm
at
asking
home,
how to do it.
guys at home, have I been able to finish one sentence?
Yeah, get on.
No.
With it. But you
I'm
ask a
trying.
question. Right.
How are we going to achieve peace?
Look at how you speak to me.
But
when
we're
I-
asking you, how can we
You
get
don't
peace?
let me answer.
Well, I'm asking you, can we get peace?
Okay, so this is what.
Why do you need to interrupt to ask him the same question he just asked? Bro, take a seat, shut up. Can people shut up?
will disband dishonest media and people that what they try to do, as in they're looking at the producer like, oh, cut him off.
Hamas and
Can I
IDF
say,
don't care about the media.
do you think Hamas is on my phone, bro? Like, what is this?
Can I
Do you
say-
think I can just speak to
I
them?
say Israel and Hamas
Bro,
don't care
the
about the media.
Palestinians are dying, right? I'm not Hamas. I'm English, bro.
I'm not saying you are. I'm
Okay,
saying
so
the two sides are Hamas and Israel. They're not going to agree.
no. That's not the two sides. The two sides are the Palestinians and Israel, and Hamas are a fringe. Like
They're the
they're
government of
terrorists.
Gaza. They're the government of Gaza.
They don't have a choice. The
got
Palestinians.
No, come on, that's not fair. They do have a choice. They voted in Hamas in 2006. Hamas was democratically voted in. There was Fatah and there was Hamas, and they voted Hamas. Come on, they had options.
Palestinians
Back
have a choice,
from the
bro.
But no,
microphone,
the Nazis did
or
it in
I'm going to
Germany.
finish
I mean, that's
this.
how it works.
Ash, will
They're
you shut
still
up
the
for a
enemy,
minute?
You know, the
I
government.
need to know what then can
It's
be
so
done to bring these two sides together. If Israel was to give the land they'd taken in the Six-Day War back, would that suffice for peace? Would Hamas?
What are you talking about? The land that Israel took in the Six-Day War? What are you talking about? What is this man talking? Do you know anything about this war? In the Six-Day War, Israel took the Golan Heights in the Sinai, but they gave the Sinai back. I thought they gave the Golan Heights back too, but they definitely gave the Sinai back. So what does that have? And then what does that have to do with Palestine? The land that they have lost is the settlements that are in place now in the West Bank. And if you're talking about before that, then it would be a large part of Israel that they would consider as Palestinian land. So what is this guy even on about? Talking about some Six-Day War.
Back off, and would that suffice for peace?
I mean,
And
I'm not a politician, brother. I can't answer that question. All I can do is it's humanitarian
Yeah, I
stance
know,
here.
but you've got to answer.
How can you
must
ask me,
have
would
some
Hamas
idea.
be okay? Am I Hamas, bro? What does that mean?
But you just said the way to
Let
peace.
me ask him.
But
Yo,
you just-
Hamas,
but you just-
would you mind if we got some
You
land?
just said the way to peace is through the media.
Hey, yo, Hamas, man. Yo, pull up, bruh.
You're now doing this
Pull
to get
up,
more
bruh.
clicks.
They want to
Let me-
debate,
let me
bruh.
add more views.
Yeah. So what is the answer to this?
Stupid.
Henry, I'm trying to get an answer.
Yeah.
Could you help me here?
Yeah, I think possibly. Look, there needs to be a third-party involvement here.
What's the UN for?
Well, that's
Good
exactly
question.
it. What I would say is, at some point, there's got to be an end to the fighting, and then that's got to be stabilised. And I would say that one of the things that surprised me is that we've not seen senior international statesmen going around and saying, look, what's going to end up happening here is the United Nations should take up a transitional administration, should run Gaza until there is a settlement as such. As the government, there is no need for Hamas. It's a transitional administration, and they will prepare the way for a democratic set of elections, etc. And potentially,
Here's the issue, right, with this. And it's a good idea. Here's the issues I see arising. UN peacekeepers dying daily or weekly and just ending up on the news. That's one. Two, democratic elections. Hamas was elected democratically. Hamas was elected democratically. They beat out Fatah and were democratically elected as the ruling governing body of Gaza. Of Gaza. And then here's an even bigger one. Netanyahu has gone on record as saying that he wants to occupy Gaza. He doesn't want a two-state solution. He wants to push them all out of all the Palestinians, or a large part of them, out of Gaza into Egypt, Yemen, and other nations, and have a very, 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 very tiny Palestinian minority. And then we'll maybe have a one-state solution with Palestinians being a Israeli minority, essentially.
an Arab, and I'm thinking not full Arab, but Jordanian, Egyptian, UAE perhaps, security force, police, not military, policing force, which removes the need for the Palestinians in Gaza to have their own armed security element. So that way you've taken some of the sting out of the tail on both sides. There's not the threat to Israel, there's not the threat to the Palestinians in Gaza. And that gives space then for talks. But right now, very sadly, tragically, and nobody can lecture me about the horrors of war, which I've seen far too many times and very up close and personal. The tragedy is that people on both sides, and I wish both sides would recognise this, are dying. Innocent people are caught up in this, are dying and are suffering. I forget the numbers, you know, it's not about the numbers, it is about that fact. And that's a tragedy. But very sadly, that's going to have to play out until the time is right when you can actually throw in that sort of that brokerage type of deal, because it won't happen whilst everything is as heated and passionate.
You've made a great point, and I would now like to get your response to Henry, because you were nodding in agreement. You will shush. I will. I'd like to hear your response to that.
I respect you massively, sir. I actually feel like you're the voice of reason in this room. I'm going to apologise. I'm sorry if you feel like I've been rude to you. But
I don't at all.
Okay,
you get passionate, that's fine.
It's passionate, but if I'm not getting a fair shake, that's what you're going to get. He's given me a fair shake, so I'm not being rude to him. I'm being very respectful. And what I think you just done is actually offer a solution that could potentially work, sir. There is a chance that if we were to install I don't know, if we had look, they've already killed how many UN people that work at the UN have died in the last month. How many? It was over 50, right? Something crazy. So if we did have the UN in there and they could be protected and no bombing is happening on the Palestinian or Israeli side, maybe we could reach some kind of, maybe even a two-state solution, maybe a one-state solution, I don't know. But right now, kids are dying.
But where we are, what should Israel have done on October the 7th? How should they have reacted?
I think that's a great question, and the answer to that question would be, if Hamas had tunnels in Israel and they were in the Israeli hospitals, would they use the same approach? Answer fairly for once today. Would they use the same approach, yes or no?
Absolutely not. Answer fairly, absolutely not. It's an easy answer. Absolutely not. If it was in Israel and there were Hamas, which is a terrorist group, tunnels in Israel, they wouldn't start dropping bombs on their own land. They're gonna send it. I mean, also the comparison isn't fair, because any peace force, police, military they send to deal with those individuals, if those tunnels were on Israel's side, would be relatively safe going into the area. Whereas any military force, police force, they would have sent and are trying to send in Gaza are at the mercy of any opposition forces in the area, including but not limited to Hamas, Islamic Jihad, any other group that's operating in the area and want IDF forces to be killed. So it's not even a fair comparison.
I don't know what
if Hamas was in Israel, in Israeli hospitals, would they use the same approach with carpet bombing? Yes or no?
Well, there's Israeli hostages in the Hamas tunnels and they're bombing it. Yes, they would.
So you think that they would carpet bomb Israel and flatten it?
They're not carpet bombing. They're not carpet bombing.
They're not.
No.
So
the
number 4 most intelligent army in the world can't aim and are killing 10,000 civilians.
They're very precise.
They're arguing semantics. They are dropping bombs. It doesn't matter that they're not carpet bombing them. Technically, they're not flying F-35s or F-16s over the area, dropping multiple bombs at once. But they are dropping bombs, JDAMs, surface to surface missiles. They're firing missiles and destroying civilian infrastructure and killing civilians. So it's not even like just call a spade a spade. It may not be it may be SP4DE, but it's still a spade.
Let's go back to Henry. Enough. Let's go back to Henry and just get the answer to that. Are they carpet bombing or not?
I do have concerns about the way that the Israelis are targeting. That sounds like a bit of a technical sort of response, but I've done targeting for both in Afghanistan and during the Cold War, targeting planning. We didn't actually target anybody in the Soviet Union. We didn't hit them. And that's quite an intensive intelligence and operational task. And I can't quite see that the Israelis have got the capacity to do things with the finesse that we would do.
Well, they kill less. We killed 3 to 1 innocent people to terrorists in Iran, and 5 to 1 in Afghanistan.
Right,
Israel is a lot lower proportion than that.
But I look at the
that's
fact
actually right.
I'm just saying I've got some concerns. Okay, I'm sitting here in London. I'm not sitting down in an Israeli command centre looking at it. So I don't know. I would, if I was Anthony Blinken, I would be wanting to look at that. That's all I'll say on that. But the thing is, if you are going to have a ceasefire or a sustainable peace and a follow-on solution, then the elements of this that that are fundamentally an obstacle include Hamas, partly because of the very public statements that Hamas have said about the Jewish state. And so Hamas have to step aside. There is no if, there is no but, and if they don't step aside, then the only way of doing that is for Israel to destroy any capability Hamas has of waging any form of war. And that is what Israel is now presently doing. Again, tragically, Hamas is embedded in the local civilian population. So what do you do? There are civilians going to be caught up in that.
Let me just come back to you. Will Palestinians accept their own state and live? If they didn't have the problems going on at the moment and everything else we're talking about, could they live peacefully with those people in Israel? Could this be done in the future?
The Palestinians are the most beautiful, resilient people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. I mean, listen, there is extremism, of course, but if you're to go through what happens to people in an occupation, terror is going to be born. We know it's part and parcel. Occupation and terror hold hands, right? So for you to just flat out blame all of Palestine, can they live like normal humans?
We're not. I'm asking a question.
I'm not saying you, sir. I'm not saying you, sir.
What I'm saying is, how do we
can
get
live in
to,
peace.
No, I know, but how do we get to the peace? Because the Israelis.
What do we do with
moment,
Ireland? What do we do with the Republic of Ireland, sir?
Jewish people at the moment are living in fear in this country.
So are the Arabs.
But wouldn't it be better if Egypt took control of Gaza and it just became part of Egypt?
No, it wouldn't.
Could I just say, one of the elements that I forgot to mention in this sort of UN scenario, your transitional administration, is that you're going to have the mother of all peace and reconciliation programs to deal with that, because there are people on both sides who have been traumatized by this, people on both sides who are not going to forget it, people on both sides who have hatred in their belly, and that has to be dealt with. I think if you can do that, then yes, there is the potential for the Palestinian people, if you remove the fiery, the extremist Islamic or political elements,
which they're educated from like 3 years old.
But if you can remove those influences and you can build this peace and reconciliation, then I think that's the only way forward. And actually, that's one of the things. I know you've been on the protests today, and I think there are various elements in those protests. But one of the elements that has, I think, is the trigger for the problems here and the tension that's arisen here, is that there are elements there. And I'm sorry, I don't know you. I don't know whether you're part of it or where you fit in this. But there are definitely pro-Hamas elements. There are definitely people out there calling for the annihilation of Israel.
But
there are definitely people who are anti-Semitic, and they need to be out.
I mean, but then there's also people that are definitely against Palestinians having a state and want to wipe them out. One of which is the leader of Israel, their prime minister. Like, let's not forget, the biggest call for a death on both sides are the leaders of both sides. The leader of Israel and the leaders of the Palestinians.
Otherwise, there is no sympathy
and
in
the
Britain.
posters, a lot of people are calling, from the river to the sea, and people are discussing.
Well, what do you think about that?
Just a minute, and then they're calling, talking about, well, jihad doesn't mean this; it perhaps means that. Douglas Murray, who's over there in Israel, the other. In fact, I think he's over there at the moment. He thinks that everybody who protests are anti-Semitic.
Well,
would you agree with that?
You know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I know. I just want to hear you say it, really.
So the chant from the river. I actually interviewed a Jewish man today, and I asked him about the chant. I said, "Do you think it means the eradication of all Israelis?" And And he said, no, of course not. There are Palestinians in between the Jordanian River and the sea, and they must be free.
But
That's the conversation
it does mean that. And also, even if you think it doesn't, you know the Jewish population and majority do think it means that. So why would you continue
Listen,
with it?
etymology is an amazing thing. Do you remember the word retard is offensive? Do you know what it means? To slow. We still use a fire retardant.
You're right, but
etymology.
You know it's offensive to the Jewish population,
of course
and they're taking it as
if you
so
want to-
why are you carrying on
Okay, let
doing
me
it?
ask. Is the Jewish guy that was
Could
singing
you-
it? Wait, hold
can
on.
you-
Wait, hold
yeah,
on.
but I need to know
let me
what you
finish.
think it
If the
is.
Jewish guy at the march that I asked the question to on camera that I'm going to post tomorrow, is he anti-Semitic?
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are. Normally the ones that do that are. Yeah.
but
Oh,
what do you think-
come on. He's not anti-Semitic. He just has his opinion. What he thinks is what he thinks. If he doesn't think the chant from the river to the sea is about wiping out Israel or wiping out all Jews, then that's what he believes. Now there are people that when they say it, 100% mean to get rid of all Jews and to get rid of Israel. But then there are all people who, when they hear it and when they say it, they literally mean to just free Palestinians. It's the purpose behind it that matters, not just the words.
I think it means.
Self-hating Jews.
Well, I just explained it. I explained it.
In one-
I think from the river to the sea, there are Palestinians under an illegal occupation. Can we agree?
No.
You don't want to use the
They're
word
not
illegal,
gonna-
right? Okay, under an occupation.
They're not going to agree on that, but there are the West Bank is an occupation. The settlements in the West Bank are an occupation. They are illegal, and it shouldn't be happening. There's an occupation on Palestinians happening right now, and it's not 100%. It's not all Palestine is not just Gaza. It is also the West Bank, which is under an occupation.
Occupation that's legal, even though
But
every
what is it
criminal
going to be
court said
free
it's
of?
illegal.
What does it mean?
Illegal occupation, bro. Apartheid for the last 75 years.
Right, but then we get into the situation,
really
and I'm
mean
going back to my
that, does it?
previous point. If
Do
you
you
start,
just hate, do you
if
just
you
hate
start,
Arabs?
if you
Is that
start,
what it is?
if you,
Do you think the Palestinians
hang on.
deserve to be in a
Do you-
genocide?
There's a lot of Arabs.
So why is it every time I speak, every time I speak,
guys.
bro, you've got some little sarky little comment in the background. Bro, this is a genocide happening to people that are innocent. The Palestinians, I love the Palestinian people. How dare you try and put them down like
Do
that, bro?
you love the
Give us a-
Jewish people too?
Of course I do. My best friends are Jewish and Israeli. The video that I dropped yesterday, what was it? It's a pro-Jew video. It's pro.
This guy is so he swears. He swears anybody that takes the Palestinian side has to hate Jews, has to be racist, has to be a bloodthirsty, jihadist, Islamic, just murderer. They have to be. But that's not the case. It's not a one-to-one comparison. It's not, okay, because I want this thing, it also means I want this.
No,
Why
I'm
are you-
denouncing all anti-Semitism.
you've got to
bro.
get, you've got to
Do
take
your research
you've
on
got-
me if you're going
why-
to get at me for
Come on,
anti-Semitism,
guys,
bro.
I'm not saying you're
My best friends are Jewish and
Why are
Israeli,
you
and they
having a
message me
go at
privately.
him? Why are you getting so upset about
Because
Ash?
every single time I speak, look, just play the show back when we're done and do a counter. Someone on YouTube, do a counter of how many times this guy's got.
But you're picking
Then
on
that's
him
the
more
answer
than
to your
anybody
question.
else.
Because it's him that's interrupting, bro.
look,
My family are dying, and you won't let me speak without
We
being
are
sarcastic.
letting you
He
speak.
wants the Jew. Why do you think that song's not right, bro? Do you think I'm a racist, brother?
No, but I'm
Honestly.
saying my
But look,
point
but
was, you know, the Jewish people do think it's that, and a lot of people do mean,
And what about the
mean that.
What about the Jewish people that don't
Well,
think
it's
it's
a very
that?
small minority of idiots.
There are
You
people,
think that the Jewish people that
Why
don't
do they have to be idiots? It's their point of view. Brother, get it together. They're idiots because they believe that it's not about murder and destruction. It's just about letting people be free. It's because you don't see the full picture. You don't even know the full picture because this other guy was talking about 1967 and giving land back. Unless you, and he wasn't talking about the West Bank, because they would be talking about the West Bank right now.
think it's racist are idiots.
You see,
This man on live TV just called them idiots.
Yeah, I do, yeah. I do.
Listen,
They're idiots,
They're
bro.
self-hating idiots, yeah.
look, the problem here is
That's exactly what I
that
think.
you're standing
Are
up
you not
for
embarrassed?
for yours
No,
people.
I'm-
Are you not
That's
embarrassed to
exactly
have
what I
him sat
think.
on your show with you?
Because
you are an
I'm more
embarrassment to
embarrassed.
me,
You're
Joe.
embarrassed.
I'm the good one. Great reply. Really smart.
you're
man.
really-
No,
Look at you, you're going crazy.
You are
You
really-
I thought you were a
This is like to
comedian.
be a
Guys,
I'm
guys,
sorry for being loud next to you, bro. Because you think the voice of reason. But you're a donkey.
need to take the heat out of what you're saying.
He's a
because
fucking instigator.
you're not
bro.
getting
You're only like Henry.
You're not getting your point
I
across.
can't because he's interrupting.
No,
You were getting on well in the news.
You actually you can't because
you were.
you got too fiery, and that, you know, I
Henry
understand
is a
the passion.
peace negotiator.
I
He
might
is
as well
a
just shut
sort
up.
of
No,
guy
I don't
that
want you to talk,
actually
bro.
does.
Whatever I say.
You just get very emotional.
Right.
Bro, my family are dying, bro. I'm
Yeah, of course
sorry.
you
I'm
are, remain
emotional.
calm. We're in an
My
interview.
people are being genocided and you're trying to undermine
Jews are
me at
dying.
every
Jews are
opportunity.
dying.
Even now, as I'm trying to tell you what's happening.
Hey,
This is warfare.
This guy's talking over your guests.
1,000.
Why are you here?
I can talk over. I've worked on this show for 20 years. I often talk over guests.
I understand, but look, if
How do
you
you
want to
undermine genocide,
get your point, you've got
There's no
you can either
genocide.
get your point.
Hamas tried to
you can
genocide.
either
They
get
failed.
Genocide in it.
Hamas tried the genocide. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. The Palestinians is not a genocide, but Hamas tried the genocide. That was their goal on October 7th, to kill all Jews. Trust me, if they were to continue, we would have seen Hamas wipe the fuck out that day. If they were like, take this day and let's go all the way to Israel, let's go to Tel Aviv and let's wipe them all out, Hamas would not be here anymore. But if you consider what happened on the 7th as a genocide, 1,500 people killed, then you have to consider Palestinian, the bombing campaign to be a genocide when 18,000 people have been killed. This guy is such a blowhard idiot. He's such a retard, bro.
Ethnic cleansing
They
happening.
could do a genocide in a couple of days if they wanted
Should we
to.
go and have a cup of coffee?
They
Henry?
could carpet
beer,
bomb.
You should get ashamed of yourself, bro.
Hamas tried to
If
do
this
a
was happening in
genocide,
the
but they
UK,
can't.
you'd be singing
Israel
a different
could, and they
tune. You know
won't.
that. Okay, so the million people that walked today in the march, are they all crazy? Are they all
But hold on,
self-loathing?
Israel could to do a genocide in a day.
Quite frankly,
Hamas would,
stop.
but they can't.
Stop.
Could they really get
This
away
is
with it?
ridiculous.
Carpet bomb it like you say.
Wake up, bro.
Take a break. We're cutting
Guy's a
this off.
moron,
Finish
bro.
the
Who is he?
interview.
Get him off
Okay.
here.
We can't
Look,
break.
I can't break anyway.
Get him
You-
off
you
it.
losing your temper like this.
I'm sorry,
is not
bro.
doing. Yeah, but
I
it's
know.
not doing your
But
cause any
why
good.
someone
He's just trying to
antagonise?
get
He's
clicks.
an agent. He's a provocateur.
What you must understand, if you forgive me, is that there are a lot of people out there who wonder why there are rallying cries, call them what you will, used by the pro-Palestinian protests
Yes, sir.
that are taken by the Jews and by many people in the UK who are not Jews and not part of this as being provocative. Now, if you want to, if the protesters want to take the heat out of this and get their meaning across, then they're going to have to use different phraseology. I heard somebody else say that what that phrase meant was justice to the Palestinians. Okay, well, if that's what it means, if that's what you want to say it, and then you take the flame out of it. And I think that what I was saying earlier is that there are different elements of this. There are people who are purely concerned about the humanitarian cost and the people getting caught up in, and I get that. Then there are people who are genuinely and perhaps deeply anti-Jewish and anti-Israeli and anti-Semitic. Then you've got Palestinian nationalists, and then you've got an element that I think is important to recognise, which is the socialists in the UK who are funding a lot of this, organising a lot of it, and turning up at the protests and providing a lot of the aggravation, because they've got their own political agenda here. And I find it interesting that
Man turned
I don't
it
know
over to
whether
the socialists.
Palestinians are being consulted on this, but when people are carrying placards from the Socialist Party of Great Britain that says freedom for Palestine for a socialist intifada, I wonder whether that's being discussed in the Gaza.
It's not really helping.
It's
the
but
situation.
so these
Socialist
different elements,
intifada,
and
what?
What's needed is a clear, rational presentation of the concern. The thing is, there are different concerns. Yeah.
Can I just point out, by the way, look how civil our conversation is compared
Well,
to
you're
when
being
you did
civil
it.
with him.
Yeah, because he's not an idiot like you.
But you're shouting like
Oh,
that.
shit.
Right, let me go.
Quite
Let me
nasty
go.
when you
Let me
talk
go.
to me and quite civil with Henry.
Okay, listen, if you were respectful to me, I'd be respectful back.
I have been. I've been totally
Let,
respectful.
before you two start again,
I just disagree
let
with
Ash have
you.
his
That's
say.
not being
You've been
disrespectful,
rude
is
this
it?
whole time, bro. You know you have. Don't be
I've
disingenuous.
not been disrespectful.
You've
to you.
tried to undermine me at every possibility, bro. You know you have.
Well, that's the debate. If I disagree with you.
You've got 30 seconds
Well,
to
I just want
explain
to have a debate.
why Jewish people have been put down for so long,
I
have
can't
been
speak
threatened
about
so
it
long.
for all Jewish
But you
people.
can, because you're Jewish, you can speak
Well-
about it, and why The two sides cannot. I'm not going to interrupt you. You're going to have your say.
Basically, what's happened is Golda Meir said it. If Israel put down their weapons, there'd be a massacre, and if the Palestinians put down their weapons, there'd be peace.
Oh, you really think so? You think the last 75 years has been peaceful, sir?
That's because they haven't put down their weapons.
Oh, right. So they should just accept illegal.
Well, they did get total freedom.
Accept
when they pulled out.
Just let me know so I can tell my family. I'm going to go. So accept apartheid, accept ethnic cleansing, accept. It's not apartheid. Again, we're having this discussion.
We gave the whole land back, and they just fired rockets into Israel.
Listen, there was a famous poet called Ghassan Kanafi, and he said, "Oh, they took our bread and they gave us crumbs, and they asked us to be grateful. Oh, the audacity!"
They gave you the whole freedom of God. You could have made it into the Singapore
don't misrepresent
of the Middle East.
Don't misrepresent.
I'm not. That's actually what happened,
bro. You're misrepresenting what the Palestinians were given, and you know you are. There's a reason why every single charity organisation, every human rights organisation that there you go. Cut me off right before I get there.
Listen, you can't have. I'm sorry, bro. But you just can't.
But
you had a go
at me, and I didn't even cut you off. He cut you off, and you had a go at me.
What you do to me? Ask the question.
Listen.
So anyway, do you see how annoying that is, bro? You don't even get a chance to speak.
You get violent like that with me again.
Violent?
That is violent.
Call the police. Someone call the police because I was really violent to this guy.
Why
Give me a break.
don't you just go away?
I'll get out of here, no problem, bro. I'm sorry. If you don't want to be fair, it's fine.
Why are you saying it to me again?
Because you're the one that started the beef. You're the one that started the beef.
Yeah, you see, you've got a problem, haven't you?
I was violent towards you, right? Can we call security? This man has just experienced violence.
Just go.
If you want to give a fair platform to people to come speak, then they can come speak. But if you want to villainize someone that's coming with a message of peace, you villainize me as if I'm a bad guy.
Nobody's villainized.
This guy is, he's better than me. He really said, you're being violent towards me. Help, he's got a bomb. He's got a bomb strapped to it. He gonna blow us up, bruh. He's calling him Tafada. Get him.
I know I'm
not a bad guy.
You are just talking.
I'm upset, bro, because you think I'm talking crap.
Why are you so threatening? Why are you being threatening?
I'm sat across the table.
Being threatening.
I'm Hamas. I'm gonna get you.
It's
I'm crazy.
If we're going to a break, there's something I'd like to say. Look, you're upset. There are a lot of people in this country who are upset. I was in tears earlier because I went to the cenotaph with my young stepson and to show him the cenotaph. It's surrounded by coppers. Okay, the whole place is protected. That monument is a monument to people who gave their lives to protect this country. And now we are in London protecting their monument, the monument to their memory. And you know what? I can talk rationally, I always try, and I try to listen. But at the end of the day, I am absolutely seething that monument has to be protected. It has to be protected from some elements of the pro-Palestinian marches. I saw them today, and the police were putting a ring of steel up to stop them doing it. Okay, there were others on the right who were doing it today. Nobody should have been marching and protesting today or tomorrow unless they were involved in an Armistice Day or a Remembrance Day event. And you get upset, but actually this conflict is being brought to the streets of Great Britain, and we don't want it. We don't want.
What is this we business, bro? What is this we business? Why do you think there are people out there protesting? Because they do want to show that they have a voice and that they want the conflict to stop. They want a ceasefire. They want whatever. They want solutions provided by their government. That's what protesting is for. That's what you fought for. That's what your forefathers fought for. That's what everyone fights for. To have the ability to protest and to spread your voice without being put down by the government. You talking about something we don't want it. You do realize that a lot of these people are British, and a lot of these Palestinians or Arabs that might be protesting are actually citizens of the UK, right? So when you say we don't want it, do you talk about the we as in like the older generation of UK's citizens, or are you talking about the brown people? Let's be real.
this fire in us. That's why Ash and other people, it's not just here, get really upset. No, I'm going to finish, okay? Get very upset. You are losing all the sympathy from ordinary, quiet Brits because of exactly what I saw this evening at the Cenotaph. And it is so sad. It is so tragic. And you know what? It's making people angry, and it's going to get worse if the fire isn't taken out of it. And so you guys, and I say you, pro-Palestinian, I get all your emotions, but for God's sake, if you are not nationalists, if you're not Hamas terrorists,
I've got 30 seconds before they go to a break. Automatically, I have
and the same
no
for the
choice.
right.
I just want a little...
He just said,
I've got 30 seconds.
If you are not nationalists, if you're not Hamas terrorists,
I've got 30 seconds before they go to a break. Automatically, I have
and the same
no
for the
choice.
right.
I just want a little response.
Shut
Sorry,
up.
You said you agreed, yet you've been,
Guys, there's been no violence at any of these protests for the last 4 weeks. There hasn't,
That's not
right?
correct. I've got it on video on here.
Okay.
That's not correct.
Okay.
why didn't you let him finish? What? Oh my